up guys and welcome to a new video. Today I will be talking about the season finale of Andor Season 2. The series finale actually. Or is it? Alright, so Andor finally released its last 3 episodes, its last arc, and I have to say, where I thought Arc 1 and Arc 2 of Season 2 were kind of boring and I didn't really like what I saw, the third arc was pretty damn among the best things I have ever seen from Star Wars. That entire thing on Gorman was devastating as fuck. Now we have the last batch of episodes, the last arc, which I call myself the Rogue One arc because it finally sets up everything you need to know for Rogue One. Every piece and everything is set in place to make them star and make them ready for season or for the Rogue One movie, of course. And I have to say, I thought it was a bit boring again. And that's both positive and negative. I do think it's positive in a way where I think that this series finale for Andor really is not like a series finale. And for some people that will be a bit of a bummer because this doesn't really feel like a finale. It sets up everything perfectly for what's about to come. We know what's about to come, but if some people don't know it, they will be pretty, I think they will be pretty bored with it. But if you know what's about to come, then you know that the actual season finale or the actual series finale was released 9 years ago when Rogue One released in theaters. I do think if that movie didn't come out then, but was coming out after the show, I do think that would have been the perfect way to top it all off. That would have been a perfect finale. And to have that movie come out 9 years ago is, of course, the reason they made the series. So that's, of course, something that I genuinely appreciate. So yeah, the series finale isn't really a series finale or doesn't feel like it because it isn't as big as bombastic because we already had that big and bombasticness in the movie 9 years ago, which is the actual, in my opinion, series finale of Andor, what we have followed for 2 seasons. I genuinely liked that part. I did think some of the plot lines were a bit misplaced, especially the Luthen thing. I expected him to die. Spoilers alert if you haven't seen Andor Season 2, Episode 9, 10, 11, and 12. But I expected him to die. The way they did it was very awesome. The way they did it was quite dark with the blood and the knife. I really loved that. I did think that building an entire episode around that and having to sit through the entire backstory of Luthen, for me personally, didn't work as much as I hoped it would because I was just a bit bummed out about, first of all, not seeing Andor. They kind of Mandalorian to us like in the Book of Boba Fett. So that was a pretty interesting choice. I also did not care enough for Luthen Rael inside of the entirety of the series to care about his backstory a lot more. So that is also a bit thing. It's on me, of course, because I did like it, but you know, the series can go inside with that as well. It's why I didn't like it, and especially not in my last arc. A very place at the end, it felt like, okay, now they're going to kill him off, and now we're going to tell you something about him. I understood it. I understand why they chose to do that in that episode. I just think it could have been placed a little bit earlier to have that top off with his death, to build an entire episode standalone on the trying to officially unalive the man, but also the rescue for Clea. I think that could have been a pretty damn good episode centered on itself, with another episode centered around Luthen. His backstory, of course. I did think that could have been a really fine choice, and I did think I would have personally liked that a little bit more. Then again, I'm not a writer, so what the fuck do I know? That is something I really didn't particularly like. So with the 10th episode, I was a little... We all saw that thing, right? What the fuck was it? Why did I see it on camera but not in my real life? So as I said, I was a little bummed out with episode 10, but then we got back to everything that was great with episode 11 and 12. The official going into Rogue One-ness of the entire series, then the real connection started to pull. Then you saw the visible threads of where everyone was going. Andor was going to be in his Andor outfit. Everyone had their Rogue One. I meant the Rogue One outfit. Everyone was in their Rogue One costumes. We were getting ready for it. The Death Star is name dropped. Krennic is awesome again. Dedra was interesting enough. I really liked what they did with her character. I didn't like her in the show at all. I did like where she ended up and how she ended up there. For them to think she was a rebel spy is incredibly poetic in some sort of way. I really loved that choice. And that entire scene with her and Krennic was awesome. And it made Krennic even more creepy as he is, because he's just a pathetic guy. He's really just a very fucking pathetic guy, but that's what makes him so dangerous, and that's what makes him so scary, and they really played well on that in these last 2 episodes, and I really loved everything that they did with that. And the way the Empire or the ISB was just trying to get Kalea by telling the world that she was crazy, then that she was a danger to society because of her mental disease, was incredible. Like, holy shit, how much more Nazi can you make something? That was incredible to watch. So to see these final threads of why the Empire is so awful as it is, of course we already know that, and we already have seen the Nazism with everything. I really like that they put it on like very thick, that this is not something great. And that's something I really like. Then again, I missed a little bit of the action, and I missed a little bit of the events of episode 8, something that happened in there, something really mind-boggling to happen in these last 3 episodes. I kind of wanted it to be a bit more than just a setup for Rogue One, to have Rogue One the finale. Of course, I was already planning on watching Rogue One the coming week. I will do that, and I will talk about Rogue One next week, because I do think that movie deserves a rewatch and a re-review, because I've already reviewed it once in my Dutch time on this channel. I will review it again in my English time on this channel to talk about my new thoughts considering the entire show. So that's everything I thought on the last batch of Andor. In general, I do really think that Andor Season 1 and 2 have some of the best writing in the entirety of Star Wars, and this is a must-watch for everyone. It's just not going to be for everyone, as I did think most of this season was more boring than it was great. Not recognizing or not saying that the story isn't great, because the story and the writing is great throughout everything. I just thought it was a little boring for me to watch. The best things about Season 1 was Narkina 5, and the best thing about this was the Gorman Massacre, to see that play out and to have that speech from Mon Mothma in one episode later. So I really did think Andor was awesome. I just don't think I will ever rewatch it for the boringness of the reason. So in the end, I would give Andor like a 3.5 star out of 5, if we have to say something like that. What did you think of Andor Season 2? Please let me know in the comments down below, because I'm really excited to hear your opinion on this series. Are you excited for what's to come in the Star Wars universe, or are you just saying, nah, I'm done with it now? We have seen everything from what I wanted to see. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm really excited to hear your opinion on it. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, and bye-bye.